When life knocks you down, how do you rise? That was the question that defined this chapter of my life. The final rise, the culmination of a journey filled with pain, self discovery, and ultimately, forgiveness. Weeks earlier, I'd been broken. A collapse in my personal life, compounded by failure in my career, had left me in ruins. I was haunted by mistakes, crippled by regret, and weighed down by a feeling that I might never get back up. But with psychological support, therapy, and determination, those dark days slowly faded into the background. By the time I found myself employed again at a prestigious telecommunications company, I thought I was ready to leave my past behind. The sessions had taught me self-acceptance, resilience, and the power of positive relationships. I felt strong, optimistic even. But life has a way of testing your strength, sending you reminders that growth doesn't come without challenges. One day, as I sat at my desk enjoying a rare moment of calm, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I opened it casually, expecting a spam message or perhaps some trivial note, but instead my heart froze as I read the words, "No matter how hard you try, you won't succeed. We know who you are." The words hit me like a cold slap, bringing the shadow of my past rushing back. Who could have sent this? Was it meant as a threat? Or was it a cruel reminder? Someone trying to sabotage my attempts to move forward. For a moment, doubt clawed its way into my mind. Memories of my failure resurfaced, whispering lies that maybe I didn't deserve this new chapter of my life, that maybe I was destined to stay broken. But then I stopped myself. I had a choice. I could crumble under fear, or I could confront it. For the first time in my life, I chose to confront it. I moved forward with determination, pursuing my new job with focus while quietly investigating the message's origins. Days turned into weeks. And during those weeks, I found an unexpected sense of closure. I no longer saw myself as the person who had fallen so deeply. Instead, I started to feel like someone who had climbed a mountain of shadows, battered but stronger because of the climb. The pressure of searching didn't weigh me down, it fueled me, reminding me of how far I had come. My past was trying to pull me back, but I wouldn't let it. And then, after tireless searching, I learned something startling. The message had been sent by William, a former colleague from my previous company. William, whose name I hadn't even mentioned to myself in months. But his actions, oh, I remembered those. He'd been the one closest to the manager, the one who whispered behind closed doors to climb the ladder while pushing others down. It hurt to realize this. William wasn't just the author of that text. He was also one of the reasons for my initial failure, the direct cause of my dismissal. It hadn't been just my mistakes. It had been his betrayal. I knew I had to face him. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I needed answers to finally close the door on this chapter of my past. I found myself standing outside his apartment, the hallway dim and musty. My mind raced with questions. What would I say? Would he even admit to it? Did confronting him serve a purpose, or was I simply reopening an old wound? Moments later, it creaked open, and there he was, William, but not the William I knew. His face was pale, hollow, as though life had drained the ambition from him. His clothes were wrinkled, his hair disheveled. Behind him, his apartment told the same story, cluttered, messy, lifeless. He looked at me in shock, his eyes darting nervously, as if expecting me to lash out. For a moment, it felt like the roles had flipped. Here I was, standing tall after years of rebuilding myself, while he stood in the ruins of his own life. "You don't need to say anything," I told him, keeping my voice steady. "I know you sent the message, and I know what you did at the company." William stared at me, his defenses crumbling as he realized there was no point in pretending. Finally, he spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "I'm sorry." He didn't offer excuses, didn't rationalize his behavior. He simply apologized. And in that strange, vulnerable moment, I found myself doing something unexpected. I thanked him. "You're probably wondering why I'm thanking you, right?" I asked, watching confusion flicker across his face. "I'm thanking you because without those actions, without the collapse, the betrayal, even the pain, I wouldn't have learned what I know now. I wouldn't have grown." William's shoulders slumped, guilt and despair etched onto his face. "I didn't want it to end like this," he admitted. "I thought if I climbed, I'd finally feel fulfilled. But now I see, every dirty deed catches up with you eventually." I nodded, letting his words sink in. That's a lesson we both had to learn. I turned to leave, pausing only once to look back. You made a choice to pull me down, but that fall taught me more than success ever could. I rose because of it, and now it's your turn to rise. As I walked away, I felt a weight lift, the final piece of closure that I'd been searching for. William's betrayal hadn't just shaped my fall, it had shaped my rise. And as the days turned into weeks, I focused on what mattered most, living a life that defined me by my strength, my resilience, and my capacity to forgive. The past teaches you, but it doesn't define you. Fall if you must, but let that fall be the final one. Rise, always rise. No further narration. The visual alone will convey the sense of moving forward and rising above past challenges.